Okay, so today we are here. I'm going to present you a very special person that is my friend, and he's a graffiti artist, and he is here with us. And his name is Daniel Nadi. He's known as Daniel Nadi. And hello, Daniel. How
Hello,
are you?
Claudia. I'm
Can
good. I'm
you?
good.
Uh, I don't know if this recording is recording your face as well. I don't know if
I think
it,
yes, yes, yes.
yes, because it's double, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so as you can see here, there is some a work that he has done, and now he he is going to talk with us about lots of things, important things to know about graffiti, and let me show you some topics, important topics that we are going to talk. He's going to talk with, have a chat with us to explain something very important that we don't know. So let's see. Let me share here just to show you some topics, important topics. So here, so the origin of graffiti in the world
Yeah.
and also in Brazil, and the graffiti versus vandalism, because we need to know about both of them.
Yeah.
Graffiti as art, access to art through graffiti, Brazilian graffiti in the world, graffiti as a business, graffiti professionalism, and living of graffiti, future of graffiti, this is very important,
Yeah.
and contemporary urban art.
Yeah.
So please, now let's come back here in my, okay. So let me stop sharing.
Okay.
Okay, so Daniel Nadia, but your name is Daniel Wake e Castro.
Daniel Weich. That's a
Ah,
German.
Vike.
Weich, it's German.
Ah,
German
nice,
and Castro Portuguese. It's a mix.
nice.
And Nadi, it's a nickname from my childhood. Because of Danny, it's we have a little boy in our neighborhood that can't pronounce Danny. I said Nadi, Nadi, Nadi. She's what very small, 3 or 2 years, and then I got this nickname from my childhood.
Uh-huh, nice. And I thought was Wake. Okay, Vike. Vike.
Like, I'm a graffiti artist. It's hard to define who is an artist and who isn't an artist. So to be more understandable, I say that I'm a graffiti artist. But I produce some graffiti, but I like to experiment and to mix some different kinds of art and with this urban breath, which is urban feeling, because we say that graffiti is more than aesthetic. It's living in the streets. You have to paint in the street. You have to be in the street to be a graffiti artist or a writer, as they say
Nice.
in New York.
Do you know what?
And
Uh, that things that you are saying now, this reminds me, Keith Haring. He was like this. He said
yeah,
also that life. He was feeling this the urban art important thing to,
yeah,
to do
because
outside.
we have to understand. We have to understand, like if Harry, or all the artists in the world, that when we do some art in the streets, we are interacting with people, and you have to know that we don't know who are gonna access our art, or who are gonna like it or don't like it. And we have to understand that the street art is for the street and for the people in the street. It's not our art. We do it for the world and for the street. And sometimes we paint one day, in the other day there is no art anymore, and that's
Ah,
okay. That's okay, because the art, it's ephemeral art. And in the beginning we get angry. Oh my god, I take a lot of hours to do, but okay, it's for the world. The world don't
uh-huh,
want that, or don't need that in that moment. Okay, that's okay. And sometimes some people interact with our art, to painting something, or to glue something, or to write something in our art. And it's changed every time that we look of our at our art. It is different, because it's in the street. We work in the street, and the street have, it's like an organism, a living organism, and
uh-huh.
has their. And uh, and to work with graffiti, I have to understand that my art is not mine anymore. I don't have control of my art.
Uh-huh.
And I understand that when I talked with not about graffiti, but art in general. When you sell an art, you lose the that it's not your anymore, and
Uh-huh.
you don't know if they are gonna put it in a wall, they are gonna collect in a case. We don't
Uh-huh.
know what they are gonna do, and we have to understand that art, it's not our art. We do for
Uh-huh.
other people, and we don't know. It's like a child. It's for the world, not for us to be with that all the time.
Is the same as a child, our child, huh? The
Yeah, yeah,
son, the daughter, is for the world. Okay.
yeah. And
Okay.
I'll talk a little bit about my experience in graffiti, and how I get to the graffiti. I'm from 83, 1983, December of 1983. When I was young, there is no graffiti here in Brazil. Not graffiti as we understand now.
Uh-huh.
We don't have access to things from Europe or North America. It's hard to get information. We don't have internet. We don't have anything in the 90s. And then sometimes there is a mother of, or a father of a guy in the neighborhood that work in a company, in the air company, that travel a lot. And then sometimes we get a magazine of graffiti, or a magazine of culture or art, and we start seeing that in the early 90s. But
Uh-huh.
we don't have the material to do the graffiti. And we started painting with a vehicle, like a can of spray can, to painting cars. There is not for graffiti. They don't have a lot of color. We don't have a lot of colors. Uh, if you paint something black, you can't erase, like today. You have the white and the black, and one color take
Uh-huh.
another. And there was we have a lot of difficulty. And when you get in the early 90s access to the Americans or the European spray cans, we don't have how to choose colors, because we have to take what get in Brazil. There is one store, that, or a guy from North America, the Mr. Bean, that he takes. Sometimes he takes some spray cans. He has two stores, one in Galeria River in Ipanema, and one in Uruguaiana. The name was
Uh-huh.
Junks, and that was a place that we chat and we talk about graffiti, and some guys appears with a magazine or with some informations, and then we got that hip hop culture from little piece. We don't have all the things. We have little piece to match a puzzle, like a
But
puzzle
it's
of hip
growing.
hop.
It's
Yeah,
growing. The graffiti is growing.
and yeah, but early in the 90s until early 90s, we just have the pichação here in Brazil. Our uh, our our work with spray cans was like pichação. There is a movement that still exists, but it's the only way that we can put our mark in the street. It was some young some young ideas, some young vandalism, just for fun or for subvert or for that young. Oh my God! And when other guys say in the school, "Oh, I saw that, man! I saw that!" When we got a little famous because we write our name in the walls, and
Uh-huh.
it's a movement that still exists in São Paulo. It's a movement much more organized, but in here we still have this movement. But in 2012, in the early 90s, a lot of crews appeared, like Nação Crew in the North Zone, that launched a lot of great artists like Marcelo Menti, like Gais, like Style, Braga, Chico. There was a lot of guys from that crew. And we have in the South Zone the Flashback crew that launched TOS, PA, Let's, and in Baixada, the Posse 471 that with Bobby, Carlos Bobby, and Kajaman and Black, but there are movements that are they are not together. There is in the Baixada, in the South Zone, in the North Zone, they are not together. In the early 90s, uh, uh, the band Ohapa invited a guy from São Paulo, Espeto, that started painting in the shows. Uh, and then he got a lot of tours with them, and then he got out, and then Fabio Emma from São Gonçalo, because graffiti in Rio started in São Gonçalo with Marcelo Eco, Fabio Emma, and Akuma, and then Emma started painting with Uhapa, and then it's blow our mind, and then the graffiti start to grow in Rio.
Uh-huh.
And because in São Paulo, we just opened a street art gallery, and in Rio we don't even dream with something like that. And that gallery started the movement to 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 grow the graffiti in São Paulo, especially in São Paulo, but all the other states got increased with
Uh-huh.
this gallery. And then it's launched like Gêmeos, like Espeto, and all the great artists that are still on the hype, or are still working with the graffiti, started with the galleries. And
And then there is a girl that painted some dolls, very colorful dolls in São Paulo as well. I think
Nina Pandolfo. Yeah,
Nina
yeah, yeah.
Pandolfo.
Nina Pandolfo. We had Chinho. Chinho is still working. He do like a doll or a toy. Like he's ripped a lot of pieces of fabric
Uh-huh.
And he did a expo here in the center, in the Praça 15. I forgot the name of the
Uh-huh.
cultural
It's like a
center.
cube, the
Yeah,
pet, the
yeah, yeah.
cube.
The pad and the button with the eyes of button.
Right.
They all started really in the 80s in São Paulo. Here in Rio started like in the 90s, because in São Paulo they receive a lot of information from other countries because of the São Paulo. It's a larger city. And because of the business, they received a lot of information and a lot of things, and they launched first in the graffiti art. But in the world, talking about the starting, in New York, because there is a lot of misunderstanding, or a lot of theories about how it started. We consider there is the most accepted it that starts in the early 70s in New York, in the New York ghettos,
Uh-huh.
uh, as part of the hip hop movement. It's one
Mm-hmm.
of the four elements of the hip hop, because there is a lot of films about the era of the gangs in New York. New York, it's not in the early 50s to 70s. It's not this New York that we know now.
Was
There is
very
there is a
good.
lot of films about that. There is New York gangs with Leonardo DiCaprio. There is a lot of gangs, and there is a ghetto. All ghetto, and then the gangs started to there is a lot of people dying, and they like, if we don't kill each other, or if we have a challenge of rhyme, and a challenge of painting, and a challenge of music, and a challenge of dancing, and then the hip hop movement started like this, with the b-boys that dance, the writers that do graffiti, the DJs that in the pickups, yeah, and then the MCs, the with
Uh-huh.
singing and do the rhymes, and then it starts, and then some people say that the hip hop saved New York more than all the politicians and all the things that done, that the hip hop saved the Bronx and the Queens and these poor areas.
Mm-hmm.
And but all starts with a challenge, and then this challenge grow, and then the challenge started to make who gets in the most difficult spots. I'm talking about the graffiti specific. And then they thought, what, run all the city, the trains, so let's do our graffiti in the trains, that we have our art going through all New York.
Uh-huh. So everybody can see. It's
Yeah,
like a democratization of the art.
yeah, yeah. We have some films, some art pieces in video, in YouTube, and that talk about that era, that it's street wars. It's very good that in the early 70s, that talk about a lot of artists and this movement in the beginning, because there it started as a challenge, and then grow to the spot, and then they got to the outdoors, and then they got to the buildings, and then it's got but that was, they don't have it, like we are in the 90s. They don't have the material for graffiti, so the drawings are not very good, because the material don't help to do some good work, or some fine art. And then they got to understand how to use a spray can that's not for graffiti. And then it got, and then we have a lot of graffiti. They call the graffiti kings, like Futura 2000, that was the first to do a top to bottom. That we say top to bottom, it's the guy that painting um, a train, all the train, and there is a whole car that they painted the car of train, and they get
Uh-huh.
some slangs to what
Uh-huh.
are happening. And there is like Cope 2, for example, but we have a mark of the beginning. It started with Taki. Taki was a postman that walks through New York, and the streets in New York have numbers. And he
Uh-huh.
started doing his nickname Taki, Taki, and the number of the street that he lived, Taki 183. And then he are delivering mail and writing Taki. He said that there is a lot other writers after him, but there is no register of that. And then
Uh-huh.
some young guys like him started doing that, writing their names.
But in that period, which material, which media they use, he
They use
used?
they use it like a pilot, like
Ah,
a
a pen, a
yeah,
felt
a pen,
pen.
yeah.
Nice.
And
Very
then
interesting.
and it's just that Taki 183, and he has a Instagram, and he sells. He gets that map of New York subway because he did a lot of tagging the subway, and he get that is free, the map of the subway of New York, and he writes tacky and sells that in the internet, over the internet. And then a lot of guys started doing that, and in sometimes in some period they said, okay, but we can evolve that letters. Let's do some balloon letters, né? Like
Chubby,
with
chubby letters.
chubby letters,
Chubby
like uh, and then they started writing their names that they still write like a cursive,
Uh-huh.
or like a tag. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there is a kind of alphabet that the graffiti writers
So
use.
that's that's why we see all letters, names, the letters on the wall here, no? Just
Yeah,
to
yeah,
they
because
like to leave a registration, their registration, right?
yeah, because the graffiti started with the writers, and then they got the chub letters, and then they use it like some draws to increment that letters. So that was a evolution of the art, of the graffiti art, because in New York, for example, they consider the guy that writes his names or the guy that do some mural, they are writers. Here in Brazil, we have the pichação and the graffiti, but they have there the writer, the street writers or the graffiti writers. To They are considered the same, and then they sell their works. And this movement got here in Brazil in the early 60s, uh, with the pichação, like the tag that they do. But there is not something that are imported from New York. We got here with propaganda or marketing. Em São Paulo, they have the Cão Fila, quilômetro 16, 16 kilometers. There's a guy that have a canal that ride all the Dutra, the,
Uh-huh.
that he sells the fila dog in the kilometer 16 in the Dutra. And this
Uh-huh.
guy was one of the first here in Rio. We have considered the first writer, the Selacanto Provoca Maremoto.
Uh-huh. I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember.
he is a journalist from Jornal Globo now, and he started at PUC in the 70s writing. He saw a national kid show, and then some in an episode, a bad guys, there is a submarine that was like a fish, and this fish, when he moves, there is a maremoto
The
in,
big waves, né?
yeah, big waves to destroy Japan. And
Uh-huh.
he said that in the episode, Selacanto provoked that Selacanto provokes or generates big waves, and then he writes that he puts a draw of a little drip, and then he
Uh-huh.
started that book in the bathroom or in the classrooms, and he started. Everybody was talking about what's that, and then appeared another guy that writes Le Famu,
Uh-huh.
because of he was a student of PUC too, because Le Famu was a slang for drugs, for marijuana in the early 70s for the hippies in Brazil.
Uh,
And there is and started the fight, who is the most brave or who has the most. And Selacanto started with one guy, and then other guys started doing. He was recruiting some other guys, and then it started. And then a lot of journals, of TV channels started asking what is that, and a lot of question about that. And then he this tag appeared in magazines, in journals, and in the in an announcement of Wrangler pants, like jean pants Wrangler. There was the most expensive jeans in the early 70s.
but
Used it in a magazine cover to attract the young people.
but at that time, they did they get in trouble about doing this, writing all over the place? Like Keith Haring was in arrested, no? I don't know if they got in trouble.
Yeah, he says that he started when the police got um, start to hunt them, and then his father said, "Okay, now you have to say that it's you, and it's a kid's play or a joke, and it's not because there was a lot of theories like drug selling, points of drug selling, points
I see.
because we have the military period. There is some
Uh-huh.
theories that there was some messages from the Soviet Union, and
I
there is a
see.
lot of, and then the things got a little worse than they imagined. And then
Uh-huh.
they started, they finished doing that, but they started the movement that grow. And then we got some the tags. There is a mix of graffiti and tags. They put the right, and they do some draw like egg. He draw an egg broken, the egg like getting out of the shell, and then he writes egg.
Uh-huh.
And megalodon, they put a shark, they draw a shark and write megalodon inside of the draw. Apache, and then they draw an Indian, from North American Indian, and then they write Apache, and then started like draw with some writing. But the when we started with the in the early 80s, that we started with the direta já, we started with a lot of tags and pichações of direta já. and about
Mhm.
and one of the most famous was the Abaixo a Ditadura, that was they had a photo of the guy doing that, and that became a shirt, and then became, and that was a transition to one thing of the joy of the kids or the young people to a politician movement.
Mhm.
That was in the beginning of the graffiti in New York, yeah, because they have that to get out their ghetto back, to start the war, and then they are doing that. But when we got our first election, uh, some graffiti write or some writers, street writers, lose their purpose because there is a lot of engagement in that thing, and then it
Mhm.
came back to the joy and to the diversion and to the people going to the streets to do their their things, but it started to be a personal tag or a
Mhm.
personal writing. They start doing their names or their nicknames, and to be famous with that, and
Uh-huh.
that that changed the way that we look the pichação here, because it's a personal challenge now. It's one against the other, who get more high, or who gets in the most difficult spot, or who gets the bigger name, or who, and that the pichação started like a challenge with that, and it's keep evolving and it's keeping harder. In the early 90s, like 89 to 92, they considered the gold era of pichação in Rio de Janeiro, because was the time that they got uh, more active and more challenger, not with
Mhm.
them but with the society. And like Vinga was the considered the king of pichação Rio, they did his tag two times in the Central do Brasil clock in 91. He tagged the cemetery of Botafogo, and he write for the I tag for the deaths, for the deads, and in the clock, in the Central do Brasil clock, he painted he tagged one time, and then all the journals start, why they do that, why are they doing that and then he got back and write that, picho porque sou revoltado, I tag because I am revolt, because I am
Mm.
revolted, because there is no, when you talk with the writers that do tag on the pichação, there is not an explanation for that. It's not like a graffiti specific that they study art. It's like a vicious. Pichação is like a vicious.
Mhm.
And in that times there is a mayor that want to get Vinga, that because he's doing a lot of graffiti, a lot of tags in Rio, and got all the police to get Vinga. And that period, like 89 and 91, was the thing that they get all the different things, because today the perception that we have, it's that tag, it's something invisible now, because we walk in the streets and we don't look at, oh, there is a tag, oh, there is a name. We just walk, it's part of the city, it's something
Uh,
funny because,
you got used to
yeah,
that.
yeah. But in the early line, that was not like that, so that was some
A new thing.
a new thing,
Uh-huh.
and a thing that was shocking
Shocking. Uh-huh.
shocking the people. So in this period, we have a lot of TV programs that have you that YouTube have these videos like Documento Especial, special document in Manchete TV. There's a lot of talking about pichação, and in Globo and all the TV talk about that movement that are growing and that are becoming becoming more present here. But it's not from something from Rio. All the big cities in the world, if you go to New York or New York subway or Paris subway or Berlin, there is tags and there is pichação in all the
Uh-huh.
big cities in the world. It's not something here. It's like the pyramids in all over the world. We
I
have a
see.
pyramid. There is something because when I was finishing my uh, uh, I studied communication, and then I write a little bit about pichação, and they don't know how why they do that, but there is a pleasure of a little boy that don't have money and live in a place that is poor and don't have anything to put his name in Copacabana, for example.
I
Like they
see.
are, he's taking his the place that he deserves,
I
but
see.
it's not something that he do thinking about that. It's something unconscious,
Uh-huh.
like taking his place or becoming. And there is a parallel world of graffiti and of pichação because they are
But
famous in that group. They have prizes for the best of the year. They have parties of them. They have reunions,
I see.
and he became famous, like Andy Warhol said. One day we will be 15 minutes famous. It's
Uh-huh.
his time to shine, and this shining, this famous in a little group enables, and then he got, oh my god, I am the guy. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes uh, because we have still pichadores in the 80s that do their tags until now. They have 50 years, they have 40 years, and they work in a they are lawyers, they are judges, they are policemen, and they still do their pichações.
Ah.
We don't know who is a pichador.
But can we say that the pichação is like a vandalism, or is wrong to say that?
Yeah, because I'm talking about all the evolution, but it's we have in the law. It's depending of what are you tagging or you are doing your pichação. But it's a crime. You don't go to jail, but you have to pay. You have sometimes
To
to
clean?
recover, to clean, or to recover, to pay to restore that. If it was a public or if it was a private building or private wall or something like that. Because because vandalism we have in the pichação, but we have in the graffiti because graffiti started like a vandalism with engaged with a mission to challenge all the people, uh, other gangs or other groups to not fight anymore. They are there was a painting war. It's not more a gun war or a stab war, and it still exists. We have the they call here in Brazil vandal. We have the vandal, and we have the legalized, or we have the
Uh-huh.
a lot of types of graffiti.
Okay, so tell me one thing, because as I have read in an article because I'm doing my final work for visual art in university.
Yeah.
And I have read that if it's called graffiti when is not when you don't have prior permission to do that, to paint on that wall, and it's called muralism, muralis, when you have a permission. So can you a little bit
Yeah, we have
clarify?
a lot of discussion about that because you have the purists that think that graffiti is just letters. If you do like that, like a dragon, or you do a skull, or you do a girl or something, it's not graffiti. Graffiti is just letters, and it's illegal. Point.
Uh, uh,
And then it started like a discussion about that. We call, but there is a lot of theories. One of that it's illegal and it's letters. Other other studies say that graffiti is what is doing in the streets. It's art in the streets, and you need the living of the streets and the experience in the streets to be considered graffiti. And then when you put that graffiti inspiration and that graffiti perspective in a gallery, it became urban art or street art, and there is this difference, and this is the most acceptable today is that what is in the streets is graffiti, what is in the galleries or what's sold in a studio is urban or street art. But uh, because graffiti born with no studies, it's like some boys that want to painting that, and they learn it doing that, and they don't have the traditional techniques. And there is a discussion about the academy and the graffiti in the Europe. This doesn't exist anymore. We have the urban contemporary art. We have because graffiti marked our contemporary period. Because if you're doing today, and if you are doing a draw or a mural or a graffiti or letters that mark the period that we are living now, if you are talking about politics, or if you are talking a period of the pandemic, or if you are talking about a specific death of a person, you are doing something that's contemporary, and you are marking the period. It's graffiti is writing the story of the humanity since 70s in New York. So in Europe, they have magazines about European contemporary art. They have sites, they have galleries, because some graffiti artists go into the gallery, but are still studying classic arts, and some classic artists that came from the academy like to painting in the streets, and this mix did something different. It's not just throwing spray painting in the wall. We have you use your imagination to glue something, or to do some to put a painting in a balloon and throw in the
ah,
wall. You have all the imagination, but here is, if you are doing this in the streets, it's graffiti.
mm-hmm.
And talking about the mural, there is a difference. It's one type of graffiti, like letters. In the letters, we have the bomb. There is the chubby letters. We have the throw up. There is the chubby letters that have just the lines. We don't have the painting. We have the 3D, like letters or draw that have a perspective. We have
Illusion of
illusion
3D.
of 3D. We have the personas that we call here, that uh, you do a mascot and you paint in that mascot. And there is the realism, the hyperrealism. There is the guy that do the geometrical and the abstract. There is a lot of types of graffiti because they evolve. The art is evolving every time. New materials and new techniques and new artists and are growing every day. And they are all types of graffiti or ways of graffiti.
Okay. Okay, so let me see some other topics that we were talking about. So let's see some. So we talked about Brazilian graffiti in the world. Some Brazilian guys that became famous,
Hmm.
like a Cobra, no? So
Yeah.
they went in the world and doing a lot of beautiful things. So,
Yeah, because here in Brazil we have some because here the spray paints are very expensive in Brazil compared to our salary.
mhm.
So we don't have an access to the best materials in the world. So sometimes some guys from Europe or from USA come here and they say, "How can you paint with that? That's a shitty spray, or that's too expensive. How can you?" Because uh, so here we have some difficulties that make us different of the other countries. And here in Brazil we have more. It's different the way that we work with graffiti. Like I'll explain. In the rest of the world, we have something called a place that you can do the graffiti just in that place, in that city, or in that neighborhood. So you're painting, you take a picture, you go away, and then someone will get there, will erase and get another
uh,
graffiti in that
uh-huh,
wall.
another
Here in
one.
Brazil, when you do a graffiti in a wall, you became like a boss of that wall. Someone,
Uh-huh.
no one can paint over you. So there is a different culture because here in Brazil we have a lot of of walls, and and because we have a lot of poor areas, and these poor areas sometimes the house don't have paint, and
Uh,
then it's good for the people in that house to have a graffiti.
Okay, but
uh,
if we think about places that you are, for example, invited to paint on that wall because the owner of that place ask you to and pay you to do that,
yeah,
and then he sell the place and it comes another owner and erase everything.
yeah.
Can he erase everything, or they need to ask you permission about that?
Yeah, we have some here. We have a funny story. Graffiti was not. They are discriminalized in Brazil. We cannot get arrested for graffiti, but there is no. There is not a law to say that
Covering, to
cover.
cover
Yeah,
you.
yeah. This place you can do. This place you cannot do. And one day in the 2008, about something like that, Conlurb erased a graffiti of Gêmeos in in the uh, in the
I,
tunnel.
but was in São Paulo, né?
No,
That
no,
was in
In Rio,
Rio.
like in. there in Lagoa, like in the tunnel to go to Rio Comprido, Tijuca. I
Uh,
forgot the name of the Tunnel Rebouças,
uh-huh.
the Rebouças tunnel. And so Gêmeos has a lot of voice and has a voice that all over the world. And they said about that, that the government of Rio are erasing graffiti. And then the government stay like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, what we are doing. And then they got the law of graffiti in Rio, saying
Um,
where we can paint, and then they have to restore the old graffitis, and some way that that some locals that we can do or we can't do. But in general, it's not our relation with police is not bad as it was in the 90s, because they now know about graffiti. It's all over the news. It's in TV and it's in the galleries, and then they understand what we're doing, and then
uh-huh.
uh, we
Good
don't
thing.
we don't got
But
in
did
trouble.
the government paid the gêmeos for that?
No, 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 no.
No.
Just did that law, and then got a. They did. I think James did another one in the same place. There is a boy yellow like all the their figures in with a bike riding with a spray painting Gêmeos, oi Gêmeos.
Mm-hmm. No,
But
it's
but even with the law, the law is not a, it's not something like, this is a place that you have, for example, we can do in some walls with no doors or with no windows. Okay, but for example, the front of a public school, there is a door to enter. It's not allowed. But there is some things that became in a nebulous place, and then we don't know how to. But in general, there is no more trouble like that in Brazil if you don't have if you are not doing some vandal like in a private place or in the trains or or getting inside of a building that's not allowed. And if you're doing the street at a sunshine, it's not something that you can get in trouble.
mm-hmm. And what about the graffiti professionalism? Is getting people are thinking to invest in this profession and perhaps it became famous.
Yeah, because we became here in Rio, for example, we started in the 90s. It's the graffiti started to be paid in the early 2000, so it's very new. It's very new. So you have a lot of artists. Uh, the art don't have the study of art. They don't have, because it's a ghetto art, and it's I think art from the ghetto to the ghetto. So they became winning money, but sometimes not know how to do, and how to talk to a client, and how to. So there is a new movement here in Brazil to become a pro graffiti pro. If you have an agent, that you have someone that take care of career, and then we have a gallery that represents you, and then it's a new movement that are starting. and the artists are starting thinking about that and
Mm-hmm.
uh, running for that because
Okay. And for example, you, what is living by graffiti? You know, before doing this graffiti full time.
see,
So what you were doing, and what about now? That.
yeah, I worked with a lot of things, but the thing that I worked more was in a market, in the marketing, with marketing in a lot of companies. I studied communications. I did an MBA in marketing, and I worked in the oil companies with marketing and endo marketing and in intern communications. But graffiti was all over my life. The first time that I painted in the streets was 2002, but there is that I did a graffiti, but there's not something that thinking about winning money or thinking about a career. But in 2012, we we created the Trapa Crew, and we got a lot of friends, 7 friends, to start painting in our neighborhood in some places that are not good, or they are a lot of house abandoned, or some places that are very poor, or to work uh, with some favelas. And then we started painting like that. But we started getting some invite to painting for companies. But I was 8 hours in my job, in my day job. And then I said, oh, I'm sorry, but I can't take that job. Oh, I can't get that job. In 2018, I got an accident. I fall from a stair, and I break my right foot. I have a surgery, and then I got 10 months in a bed. I can't. Uh, there was a difficult period because I can't walk. I can't put my because I break all the bones of my feet. I lose a lot of movements of my foot, and then I started thinking about what I want to do from my life. I was to stay at in recovering for 16 months. I stayed for 10 because my boss said, "Okay, come back. We need you, man. We need you." And I was all that period. I was working from home, from my laptop. And then when I got there, they are firing all all my my team. And then I was
Uh,
very sad about that because I have still more 6 months of recovering. I have still um, scars from that because I don't did all the period of recovering. And then I said, okay, I was right. I can't get any more of this because I'm working a lot, and I'm not getting uh, in my head. I was inside when I was inside my job, and I look at the window. I thought that inside was in slow motion and the word was, oh, it's hitting. And I said, no,
uh-huh,
okay. And then
uh-huh.
I get out of my job, but I became some months to 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 take the work for another guy that can do the job. can replace me. And then since 2018, I'm living 2 years living only for graffiti, something that I call 360 graffiti. That we have to paint, we have to do some, we have to do our classrooms, and we do some jobs of of design with a graffiti touch, and we have to talk with TV program that that has something about graffiti, or not a soap opera or something, that we have to explain what is graffiti and do some job like that. And we and I say that I don't live of graffiti, I live for graffiti. It's all over
Uh-huh.
my place. My house has graffiti all over. My friends are all from graffiti now. It's
Uh-huh. Nice. Good. So just to finalize our meeting
okay.
here,
Okay.
can you tell me a little bit about the future of graffiti?
Yeah.
Just to also for me, because I'm very interested in became doing some graffiti on the wall, but
Yeah.
I know it's very difficult. I needed to practice a lot.
There is a future that I see. There is a future that I dream. A
Ah,
future that I see, that we start to do some movement like in Europe, as I said, like urban contemporary art, that the academy open a little bit to the graffiti artists, get to the academy and talk about their experience, and to teach for the artists that are they are in their studios, or are in their universities, that there is more that you can talk with your public, then you can talk with with the world. You don't have to become uh, closed. Because sometimes the academy talk with the academy, and then they do a job to the other guys from the academy, and it's a vicious cycle that the urban sorry, the contemporary art don't get to the people. Because, for example, we have a lot of cultural centers that are free. You can go to exposition, but the people don't know that it's free. They don't have the experience uh, of learning art, and so they don't understand contemporary art. They don't understand um, that things they are gonna see, and they feel bad to be in a place that they consider elitist. We have to break that. We have to to turn the people. We have to take the art to the people, and that's the job of the graffiti, and that's the job of the urban art. We are some For a lot of people, graffiti is it's the only visual art that the people have access. It's the only thing that they do.
uh-huh.
And then we have kids. And my future dream is, if you have in all the EBAs, in the Escola de Belas Artes, like a visual arts schools all over Brazil, that we have a graffiti or a Nuber art course, or a chair, or a place for the urban art, because there is a history, there is growing, there is a history there. It's here now, but they don't study, but they don't see, but they don't consider. If you talk with the contemporary art, they think that's minor, that graffiti is minor, that urban art it's something of the guy that don't study. They don't do that academy in Rio, the academy, and then the all the courses of the classic art. And
Uh-huh.
oh my God, why are you painting like this? Because I learned in the street. It's the way that I do. But no, there is another way. The classic painting is not that. Então, this discussion sometimes is something that we can learn with each other. And the future that I dream is that graffiti will be in the future in the visual art schools.
Mm-hmm. And this is part of my project for next year. I'd like to introduce in my uh, school the graffiti. For every year, we are going to paint on the wall a different painting, different inspired by different artists. And this is my project as well. And I think that is another step that we are going close to this dream,
Ye-
okay?
Yeah,
And
because we have art, some. When we are a child, all the professors say, "Okay, you draw. Okay, oh, that's beautiful." And there is a time when you are a child, like 10 years, that they say, "No, no, you are not gonna draw. Stop art, and then it's only math." And then we got a lot of young people and a lot of persons that never draw again, and they think, no, I don't have the capacity, I don't have the gift from God. It's not a gift from God. It's a study you have to do, you have to practice. There is a contemporary artist that she was he worked for the government, Lucia Laguna. When he
uh-huh.
retired, she started painting. And one
Ah,
day he was at a class with a famous teacher here. He's an English teacher, and he started crying and painting and crying, painting and crying, and everyone was worried because she was an old woman. And they said, "What's happening? What's happening?" If I know that painting was so good, I I never stopped drawing and painting since I was a child.
um,
Now she lives from art,
uh-huh.
but she said that she loses a lot of years
Time,
of,
years, of her life.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so let's continue practicing and
yeah,
drawing, and every day we need to draw. And what else? I'd like to to tell you that it was amazing our meeting. Thank you very much for coming and explaining everything that you have explained. And it was great for us that is a little bit out of this world of graffiti. And I'd like to leave a quote from Keith Haring that he says this. He said, "See, when I paint, it is an experience that, at its best, is transcending reality." So his, this quote is about creativity and going
yeah,
beyond the moments that we are painting there. It's transcending the reality. Very nice.
yeah.
So that's it. Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
thank you for the inviting, and every time that you want, you can call me.
Do you want to leave your? Then I'm going to leave your number and your contact to
Okay,
the.
my account, it's in the all the in Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. It's Nadi, Nadi graffiti with two F.
Uh-huh.
And my email, it's nadigraffiti
Mhm.
gmail.com.
Okay. Okay. Danielle, very nice. Thank you very much. and see you.
See you.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Let's see here.